Okay, this video is about the distributive property. So if you look at these examples, such as the first one, which is that 5 times x plus 3, you might see those parentheses and think, I have to use order of operations. Okay, you've been drilled by now to see when you see parentheses, parentheses first. However, x plus 3, there's nothing to be done there. They are not like terms. We cannot combine them together. We can't say that x plus 3 is 3x, because this would mean 3 times x, and it's clearly not 3 times x, it's x plus 3 or 3 plus x. Okay, so we can't use order of operations here, which is a good clue that we're going to need to use the distributive property instead. Now, the distributive property is going to happen when we have a number on the outside of some parentheses. Okay, it's usually squished next to it. Sometimes there might be a dot. Okay, but we have multiplication going on, and there's that sum or difference on the inside of the parentheses. And we have to make sure that when we multiply that number on the outside, it gets multiplied by both things on the inside. So we're going to do in this first case, we are distributing that positive 5 on the outside. So we're going to distribute 5 times x, and then 5 times a positive 3. And 5 times x, just 5x, don't overthink that. 5 times 3 is 15. But if I write it like that, it looks weird because it's not an expression. We need some operation in the middle. And the way we decide that is the sign of that second piece. 5 times 3 was a positive 15. So that means we are going to put the plus sign in between them. And that is our final answer. We cannot say 20x and add them together because, once again, not like terms. Okay, so 5x plus 15, we have distributed the 5 to both pieces, and we are done. The next one, we are distributing a negative 2. So we're going to start with negative 2 times x, and then negative 2 times 7. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 7 is a negative 14. And because our second piece is negative, that means I need to write it as a subtraction sign. So our answer for this second question is negative 2x minus 14. Okay, here we are distributing a 3. And we are multiplying 3 times negative x. And then we are also multiplying 3, and this is where we have to be careful with our signs. We're multiplying 3 by negative 4. Okay, you always take the sign that comes in front of the term. And this is a little trickier, so maybe we might want to think of this as 3 times not just a negative x, but even a negative 1x. And now we can say that that is going to be negative 3x. Okay, we can multiply the numbers that are there. And then the x is just going to be squished against it because it's still being multiplied by those other numbers. And 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. So that is minus 12. And negative 3x minus 12 is our answer. Next one, we're distributing a negative 4. And we are doing negative 4 times x. And then negative 4 times a negative 8. Okay, if you have highlighters, okay, or even if you just want to circle it, okay, do something to make sure you know what signs you are dealing with here. So negative 4 times x is a negative 4x. And negative 4 times a negative 8 is a positive 32. So we write plus 32. Next one, we are distributing a 7. So 7 times 3x, and then 7 times a negative 9, because that's a negative 9 right there. 7 times 3x is 21x. 7 times a negative 9 is a negative 63, which we write as minus 63. And our last example on this row, we have a negative 4 being distributed. we're going to do -4 times 8, and then a -4 times -3x. -4 times 8 is a -32.
Pardon the interruption. We want to celebrate our positive.
This one is a positive 12x.
Kindness. Congratulations to Catherine Connolly, Ella Herman.
Sorry about that interruption with the announcements. So now we have -32 plus 12x as our answer. Okay, honestly, guys, this is not a very difficult concept. Okay, however, where you guys make the most mistakes is with your integer rules, knowing when something's positive, when something's negative. Okay, and also just knowing what sign one of the pieces is. Okay, so that's why circling, boxing up, highlighting is still super helpful for a distributive property. Okay, and then just a couple of special things at the bottom. When you have a negative on the outside, that looks a little bit weird because you're like, wait a second, I don't have a number to multiply by anything. But don't forget that there's that invisible -1. So really, when you have that negative, it's like you're distributing a -1 to both pieces. So -1 times 5x, and then a -1 times a -4. So that's going to be a -5x and a +4. And for the second one, -1 times a -2x and a -1 times 8, we get +2x minus 8. And really, shortcut version is a negative on the outside, just changes the signs of both things on the inside. Okay, meaning in the first example, it was a positive 5x, now it's a -5x. And it was a -4, and now it's +4. It changed the signs of both pieces on the inside. In the second one, it was a -2x, and it's now a +2x. It was a +8, now it's -8. Okay, so if you can remember that shortcut, go for it. If you don't, just don't forget that that negative is really a -1 that you're then distributing to both things. Okay, and the last one, okay, they just look a little different because the number we're multiplying is really on the right-hand side. Doesn't mean you're not doing the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to do these in two different ways. Okay, it is still possible to take the number you're multiplying and just multiply it by both pieces. So I start with 7 times 3. And then I have a 7 times a -2x, which would give us 21 minus 14x. If that really truly bothers you, and I happen to know it bothers Mrs. Trebecki, okay, she cannot handle that number on the right-hand side, okay, then just rewrite it. Take that number that you're multiplying and move it over to the left side instead. So we can rewrite this as -2 times x plus 8. And now if we distribute it to both pieces, -2 times x is -2x. And -2 times 8 would be -16. Okay, so if you want to just keep the number on the right-hand side and multiply it by both pieces, as long as you're paying attention to signs, it should not be a problem. If that number on the right-hand side bothers you, just move it over to the left-hand side, and then it should look like all the other ones that you have done so far. Okay, so on the next page, you have 12 practice questions. You are going to do those and enter your answers on the Google form on your digital tracker to see how you did on this.